Welcome to the Vegas Insider channel here on YouTube. College football week 1 is here. Kevin Rogers with you, and we are joined by Brian Edwards. Looking forward to a big season. Last week, unfortunately, lost on the 3-team moneyline parlay in week 0. Those silly Nebraska Cornhuskers couldn't come through against Northwestern. But Brian, we move on. A huge slate in college football. And let's begin NC State and East Carolina. And these teams hooking up, the Wolfpack favorite in this one. This line has jumped. But what are your thoughts here on this matchup between NC State and East Carolina?
I'm on NC State now. I got it at 9.5, but that was like 6-7 weeks ago. I still like it, at 11. If it's 11.5, I consider 11 a key number, maybe by that half point. Look, I'm super high on this NC State team just in general. I'm on their win total over 9. Now, if your win total is 8.5, like juiced up to minus 200, I don't know, maybe stay away or just a small amount. Minus 200 is a little too much for my taste. But, if NC State didn't have to go to Death Valley to play Clemson, I would be picking them to win the ACC. But it's going to be tough to win at Clemson against that nasty defense. But look, ECU is actually going to be pretty good. It's not a fade of ECU. I like veteran QB Holton Ahlers. They've got an outstanding running back who was first team all AAC last year in Keaton Mitchell, and they have been they were very improved on defense last year and have 8 starters back. But I think eventually in this game, in the second half, NC State will get some separation and win by 14 to 17 points. So they go 9-3. Last year, they would have gone 10-3. They were going to beat UCLA, and UCLA dipped out of the bowl game like within hours or early that afternoon because of COVID. So in my mind, this was a 10-win team. Last year, they've got their quarterback Devin Leary back, 35-5 TDINT ratio. He's got 4 of his top 5 pass catchers back. They did lose a couple of running backs. But their second best recruit in this class was a running back, Michael Allen, and he's probably going to be involved early in terms of playing time. But the big thing is their defense. So they were second in the ACC and top 20 nationally. I want to say 17th. Gave up 19.7 points per game, and they have 10 starters back. And I don't even know if that's counting linebacker Peyton Wilson, who led the ACC in tackles in 2020 and was first team all ACC. He had a season-ending injury in week 2 last year. He's back healthy now. Phil Steele's national unit rankings rank their linebackers 2nd in the country, their secondary 3rd in the country, and their D-line 19th. So this is going to be, in my opinion, a top 5 defense in America with an outstanding quarterback. And it's going to have a solid passing game. NC State, I like them against ECU, and I like their over on the win total.
All right, now let's take a look at the second matchup for Saturday, Brian. Arkansas and Cincinnati. And the Razorbacks, they definitely made a lot of moves under Sam Pittman. This was a team that was bottom of the SEC West for a bit. They became a covering machine. They had that big win against Texas early on in the season last year, also beat Texas A&M as well. Now they get Cincinnati. The Bearcats were a college football playoff team last year. Lost to Alabama. Desmond Ridder off to the NFL. Sauce Gardner off to the NFL. So what do you think here? Razorbacks laying 6 against the Bearcats.
Again, I'm not fading Cincinnati. Now, they did lose a lot. They had the 3rd most players in the NFL draft from any school behind Georgia, and I think Alabama was 2nd. But they lost 9 players to the NFL drafted. So that shows they've lost a lot. Now, look, Ritter's replacement is Ben Bryant. And he was at Cincinnati for several years, started a few games late in the 2019 season when Ridder got hurt. Even the AAC championship game they started. They lost to Memphis, but they covered. In fact, they covered both of his starts late that year. But anywho, he went to Eastern Michigan last year. He threw for more than 3,100 yards. And so now he's transferred back. He's got a good O-line. But they've lost their best receiver. They lost their top 3 tacklers on defense. They lost a lot from a great defense. Look, Arkansas 9-4 straight up last year, 8-4-1 against the spread. Lost by 1 at Ole Miss. Had a one possession, only lost by 7 at Bama, easily covered. Had another one possession loss to Auburn. But look, they bring back a lot, and 24/7 Sports ranked their haul of transfers 10th in the nation. They're going to miss Treylon Burks, but they addressed the wide receiver position in the portal. They got Matt Landers, who started his career at Georgia, had a big season for Toledo last year, 25.7 yards per reception. They got Jaden Hasselwood from Oklahoma, former 5-star recruit, and has a lot of experience from Oklahoma. But I think the two big things with Arkansas, I think KJ Jefferson is going to be outstanding. He's like that quarterback that can run between the tackles like Tebow. I'm not saying he's as physical as Tebow, but he's got speed as well. And look, Malik Hornsby, the backup quarterback, they're going to use him in a lot of roles this year, kind of maybe a little at wide receiver, maybe some gadget plays, line him up in the backfield as a running back sometimes. That guy is lightning fast, and they're going to get the ball in his hands this year. But Rocket Sanders is going to be the breakout player for them, true sophomore running back. I didn't think he got nearly as many touches as he should have as a true freshman last year. He's going to be right there behind Anthony Richardson of Florida as the second biggest breakout player in the SEC this year. Again, nothing against Cincy. I just think Arkansas at home will win by more than a touchdown. I'll say they'll win by like 10-14.
All right, and our final game we'll look at, Brian, LSU and Florida State. They meet up Sunday night in New Orleans at the Superdome. FSU beat Duquesne in their first game, first time they've won a season opener in several years, and the Brian Kelly era now begins in Baton Rouge for LSU. He has a new quarterback, and we'll see what LSU can do. They're probably not going to repeat what they did from a few years ago. They had Joe Burrow, but let's see what Kelly can do and improve them. Tigers a field goal favorite against the Noles. What do you think about this matchup Sunday night?
Yeah, I like LSU here. I know FSU is going to take a big contingent of fans, but we're in New Orleans, so it will definitely be a home crowd and noise advantage for LSU. So that's one big key. I think we have a sizable advantage in the head coaching department as well. Brian Kelly against Mike Norvell. And Kelly has not announced a starter yet, and Miles Brennan has retired. So it's going to be Jaden Daniels, I believe. If not, it'll be Garrett Nussmeier. And Nussmeier is, a former 4-star recruit. I'm hoping it's going to be Jaden Daniels, who had 2 really good years at Arizona State. Didn't play as well last year. Throwing the ball, he ran it great, and he gives you that dual threat option. He can really scramble. LSU has got one of the best secondaries in the country, one of the best defensive lines in the country, one of the best wide receiver groups in the country. And now John Emery is suspended for this game, but they've got Noah Cain. They hit the transfer portal hard and successfully as well, even better than Arkansas, at least according to 24/7 Sports, as LSU's transfer haul, and there were 15 of them, 10 from Power 5 programs, was ranked 3rd by 24/7 Sports, behind only number 1 Southern Cal and number 2 Ole Miss. They got a couple of veterans, DBs from Arkansas. They played at Arkansas, and were starters the last 3 years. But they're from Louisiana, weren't recruited by Orgeron. So they're back home, and they're hungry to be successful. And look, man, Ali Gay and BJ Ojulari and Mason Smith on the D-line, all 3 of those guys are going to have very successful NFL careers. And I think those guys will be the difference, getting pressure on Jordan Travis. And I like LSU laying the short number.
All right, so Brian Edwards, his 3 selections for week 1 in the NFL, or in college football, rather. He likes NC State against East Carolina, also Arkansas at home against Cincinnati, and LSU against Florida State coming up on Sunday night at the Superdome. Brian, as always, we appreciate the time. Thank you. Best of luck, and we'll talk to you again next week.
Thanks, K-Rod.
That is Brian Edwards. I am Kevin Rogers. Thanks a lot for watching, and as always, best of luck with your bets.